Welcome to Spirit, Purpose, and Energy. I'm JJ Flazanes, your host, and thank you for downloading today's episode. Today's show is brought to you by Health IQ. Health IQ is a life insurance company dedicated to rewarding you for making health-conscious choices. They've got a great quiz on the site, healthiq.com/SPE. That's Spirit, Purpose, and Energy. Again, healthiq.com/SPE. And the health quiz can let you know where you rank in terms of how health conscious are you compared to the rest of the country. And that score helps them to determine what kind of rates they can get you, what kind of breaks and rewards for your healthy lifestyle that you can get. Because as we all know, when you do the right thing and you plan, we have insurance in many different ways. We've got health insurance and life insurance and maybe disability insurance and dental insurance and car insurance. And we plan for, in the case of the worst case scenario, so we have peace of mind. Well, it's the same thing with Health IQ. So Health IQ helps to reward you with getting you special rates for health conscious people for term life insurance. And in case you don't have that huge nest egg of money set aside for your family in the case of your absence, Health IQ makes it easier on your pocketbook to do that than other companies that are out there. So please check it out, healthiq.com/SPE. Today's show, Ditching the Diet, is an interview of me on a show called Just Jenny. Jenny Hutt is a TV personality and radio host, and she's got a nice big following of people, and she and I had a very good conversation. She is about struggling out loud. She has been very public about her own struggles with weight loss and dieting, and so we have a different approach, the two of us, which is interesting how we work that out on the show. And I'd just be interested to hear your feedback as well, because those of you that have been listening to me for a while, I'd be curious to see what your response is to our conversation. And for those of you that are new, you'll get to hear a little bit of an overview of where I come from when it comes to the health, the wellness, and the weight loss journey. So no matter who you are, what you're doing, and what you want from your body, to me, the energy needs to stay the same. And with that said, here are a few more announcements about what's going on in the community. In May, we're going to start our next 30-day manifestation challenge. It is free. You can go to jjflazanes.com. There is a blue button that says free tools and resources. You can click through there and register yourself for the next free 30-day manifestation challenge. Again, that's in May. Also, we've got the next live event coming up in September 20th to the 23rd, and that is called The Next Big Step. It is the next big step from releasing what weighs you down. And for those of you that were at that event, many of you have already signed up for the next big step. There is a payment plan. The early bird pricing is available till March 31st, and then it goes up by $100 as of April 1st, which is still a discounted rate from what the end price will be. But I've made it easier on your pocketbook with a 5-month payment plan. There are hotel rooms that can be shared. Many people saved money last time getting a roommate and made some really great friends, because having this kind of community to support your growth is really important for long-lasting change and for building momentum. Another announcement that I made last week about the next big step that you'll hear in the near future here on the show is we're actually going to address money and the energy and the management and the investment and the usage of money at the next big step. Money is a new thing for me to put into my repertoire because it's not me who's going to be educating about it. I'm bringing in Melanie Benson-Strict. She is a business coach and has been for many years. She's got a podcast called Amplify Your Success Podcast. You have heard her here interview me, and she embodies the principles of what I'm talking about and what I want people to live and breathe, because any of this information that you get, so let's say you ask me and you're going to hear on this interview today, well, what food should I eat and what shouldn't, what about this and what about that? And they're very top level surface answers that in my experience don't give you long-lasting results. If they're not connected to a deeper root, if you don't understand the reason why you choose to eat a food that doesn't support you over and over again, then it's going to be a while before you actually feel free in your life when it comes to your food and your body. And I'm all about wanting you to get there faster by using a mind, body, soul approach, which is what I'm all about. So if you're interested in the event, come check it out. Again, early bird pricing ends March 31st. jjflizanes.com/next big step. Again, jjflizanes.com/next big step. Have any questions for me? You can find me on many social media platforms. Come over and follow me, connect with me, send me a message. Let me know how you're liking the show. Let me know what other topics that I might not have covered that you want, because it is really important to me that you get out of these shows information, inspiration, and a way of being that enhances your life forever. That's what I'm all about. So enjoy today's show.
Welcome back. Let me get to my next guest, JJ Flitzane. JJ is a holistic fitness and lifestyle coach. She's also an empowerment strategist, author, and the host of the Fit to Love podcast. And you're on a mission to transform the meaning of the word fitness to include not just the state of a person's physical body, but their emotional, mental, and spiritual states as well. Welcome to my show.
Thanks, Jenny. Thanks for having me.
So, JJ, you don't believe in diets. You're sort of part of that anti-diet movement, but which I'll tell you from the start, the concept of ditching the diet for me gives me hot flashes. That could also be my age. But how did you tell somebody to embrace the concept of not dieting or embrace the anti-diet when they've got a lot of weight to lose? Like, I understand if it's somebody who's just on the cusp, they're like a little fluffy, or they don't feel their very best, so maybe not frame it or phrase it as a diet. But for people who have a lot of weight to lose, how does this sort of strategy work?
Well, first we have to really reinvent the word diet. Like, what does it mean? For lots of people, diet means temporary. It means I'm going to restrict what I do and reduce the calories that I eat in order to lose weight. But the reality of it is no one sticks with that forever. If they lose the weight, then all of a sudden it becomes, oh, I accomplished my goal. Now I can enjoy myself and I can live how I want to live and not have to count every calorie or whatever they're doing to get those results. So when it comes to the word diet, it's just that idea of temporary and restriction versus what I promote, which is replacement. And then, of course, the education. And then, of course, even the divorcing the scale. The reason why we're the fattest and most unhealthiest country in the world is because we aren't looking at the real root of what this is caused by in the first place. And this is where we're talking about top level sort of BS kind of stuff, that it's about management and controlling and about willpower. You know, people are tired. Nobody wants to have that much willpower every day to force themselves not to eat something that they really want, or to count every calorie, or to exercise every day for an hour and feel horrible, possibly. I'm not saying that that's a choice. You can do it, all those things, and feel better. But if it comes from an inspired place of because you love and respect yourself, and you put things in your body that you know do well for your body and promote health, that's one thing. But to do it from the restriction, I don't like myself, continue to sort of anchor that feeling of that I have to punish myself, I don't like myself where I am, that doesn't last. And that doesn't make anybody happy. And skinny people don't equal necessarily happy people.
Well, that's true. I mean, skinny people don't always equal happy people. Of course not. But I don't know. If I didn't get on the scale again, that wouldn't work for someone like me. I am tied to my scale. I don't think I could divorce the scale. So how do you take somebody and get them to trust this idea of letting go? Like, where does the change happen? Because you got to agree that if someone does want to lose weight, I'm not saying that everyone has to lose weight, because I don't believe that, JJ. I believe that we are all meant to have whichever body we feel we're meant to have. So somebody else might be happier in a fuller figure than I would be. But let's say they're not, and they come to you and they say, JJ, I don't want to feel like this anymore. Well, how do you advise them?
So my brand is like a mind, body, spirit brand, and it's an integration of all those things. And so they all have to be present, and they all have to be addressed. And when you just look at the diet, you just look at what someone's eating, you're not addressing why you eat. You're not addressing why you're an emotional eater. So we don't actually heal that addictive energy that people have, and we don't treat food and emotional eating as an addiction. And that's what it is. And I'm not saying that addiction, like you go to rehab like you might for alcohol or for a hard drug, but they all root in the same place, which is wanting to suppress or deny or numb a feeling. So when it comes to what, but there are foods biochemically that you can replace and remove from the diet that absolutely cause you to have cravings, cause you to feel depressed, cause you to have an energy drain. There are absolutely biochemical things in your foods that if you eat these certain foods, you'll have more cravings, you'll feel tired more most of the time, have some brain fog, have some inflammation and bloating and constipation. Absolutely. You can't dismiss the science of food in the body. But once you can clean all that up, then we have to look at the reason why you chose to overeat in the first place. It wasn't stimulated by the food choices.
Okay. So what you're saying is that instead of looking at it like a diet, which to you is this concept of a quick fix, it's someone coming to you and saying, look, JJ Flitzane, here's what I want to do. I want to change. I want to feel better. I want to look better. So let's begin. And then you would say, do you start with sort of a food plan that is an elimination food plan? Is it,
yes.
How do you teach? Okay. So take me for somebody listening who's struggling, take me through that, how you would begin with this person. And again, you're on Instagram at JJ Flitzane, correct?
Yes.
So they can follow you there. Okay. So take me through how to start.
Okay. So I over the last 20 years as a personal trainer, I've watched how people change, why people change, what changes last and what don't. And my latest book, The Invisible Fitness Formula, 5 Secrets to Release Weight and End Body Shame, was a 20-year in the making. It's my third book. 20 years in the making because I knew when I came out with the next fitness book, because I hate the fitness industry for the fact that it's a lot of shaming. And that does not motivate people. It makes them feel bad. And that's not going to keep you on your program or on a healthy lifestyle when you feel bad about it all the time. It makes you feel like, you have to judge yourself. So it's a very specific 5-step and 5-secret process. And the first 3, absolutely, without a doubt, you can't deny the science. So the first part definitely is looking at the food, looking at inflammatory foods, things that create leaky gut for you, which create digestion issues, things that hold on to water weight, foods that stimulate cravings, foods that create brain fog, foods that just do not help you on this journey, that keep you, besides cravings, that keep you hungry and not feeling satiated. So, of course, we have to look at what you're eating. And when I use the word diet, if I say to somebody, what is your diet? Meaning, what do you eat? And that could be anything, but it could also be, very specific, but it's not, are you on a diet? When someone says, I'm on a diet, or I have to go back on my diet, or I got off my diet, again, that tells me that they feel restricted. This is something that is not part of their daily lifestyle for the rest of their lives. It is temporary, and that's what I mean it's not going to work. So we have to look at the food. We have to. And once we clean that up, and now you have energy, you can sleep better, you've lost a few pounds of water weight, you don't have cravings anymore. Your body feels better, you don't have any skin issues, maybe you've lost some pain in your joints. Okay, now you're feeling clearer. Then we have to move to the exercise part. And then the exercise part has to do with smart exercise. I was director of education for New York Sports Club when I was 21 years old. There is not a lot of science, real science, being used in some of the personal training, maybe in the certifications they are, but a lot of trainers aren't certified past like a weekend. There's not necessarily a degree or a PhD that a trainer could get about learning about physics and resistance training for your joints. So we have to look at metabolism and how that works, and then how your hormones play into that based on your age. Are you doing the proper kind of – I'm working with a woman right now. I'm her 9th trainer. And when she came to me, she was working with another guy, and she said, I'm not happy with my program. I want to be building muscle, and I'm not getting results. And I said, well, tell me what you're doing. And she did, and just like every other person I've talked to, she's not doing a building muscle-specific program. So, of course, she's not going to be getting what she wants because she's not doing the right things. But it amazes me because after 15 years of being with trainers, everything I've done with her is new. And I'm like, what are people doing out there? There's not a lot of science-minded, like real science-minded in the physiology area and biomechanics to preserve your joints. So we have to look at exercise. And then after that, we move to one more thing, which is, again, the endocrine system and your hormones and your neurotransmitters and all of the sort of brain chemistry and body chemistry things going on. Now, after we get through the science, then we have to move into the deeper things. the mental and emotional and spiritual concerns that keep you wanting to grab food when you're upset, or some kind of substance, or shopping, or whatever it is, some kind of, it's alcohol, whatever, technology, workaholism. We can't deny that everything we do is in response to how we feel. And how we feel has to do with what we interpret when we either observe something or think something. So we cannot get around the emotional connection to all of it. But I want people to be in a physically ready state, meaning that they're not being, there's not cravings happening because they're eating certain foods, or their hormones aren't crazy, or they're not sleeping, so they're feeling really bad and they want to reach for something. I want to make sure that you're sort of in balance scientifically first, then you're clear-minded, stable, and ready to go a little deeper, because you have to.
Right. I like that. Let me go. Can you mind taking a call? I have someone named Patty who wants to talk to you. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, cool. Patty, you're on with me, and you're on with JJ Flitzanes. What's going on? What's your question?
My question is, JJ was saying that there's a reason why you're eating what you're eating. Well, something's going on in your life. And I want to know, is it possible that you just enjoy pasta and you just enjoy bread, or, whatever it is?
Sure, absolutely. Pasta and breads normally, because of their high carbohydrate and potentially high gluten, can become inflammatory and create cravings, and also not necessarily quickly sending any messages to your brain that you're full. So sometimes it's easy to overeat these things. And when you spike your insulin levels because of all the sugar, it might be harder for you to curb some of those cravings. It might be that there's some overeating going on because the brain hasn't received that signal. You absolutely can love those foods. There's a point in which how we balance the chemistry of the foods in terms of feeling full on less. Can you do that with pasta? Can you do that with bread? Maybe. Definitely with different kinds of pastas and breads and different meals where we're replacing some of the high starch, high carb, high insulin spiking things that turn to sugar, because all those things turn to sugar. If we can sort of recreate and maybe add some more fats, maybe add some protein first, there's ways to do it, and that's not necessarily an issue. But if you're just saying, well, I just love pasta and I love bread, yet I'm trying to lose 20 pounds and I can't do it, then we have an issue of, is it that you're overeating these things? Is it too much sugar for your body? Are you sensitive to sugar? Are you extra sensitive to sugar? So that's where we have to look at maybe an elimination diet to see how your body responds to different food types, and but maybe something that's,
Yeah. But JJ, Patty, does that help?
It helps. It helps to know it's not emotional, because I look at myself and I say, wow, I'm pretty happy. I'm very blessed. And I'm like, but yet why do I sabotage myself? I think he's very good. Twice in my life now, I've lost 40 pounds through diet, not diet, but eating better and exercise. But then I just kind of always fall back. And I just did it recently, and I got to get back on board. I know I do, but I don't want to give up the things that I like. And it's just a struggle, because I know that they're not good for me.
By the way, it is a struggle. And I think JJ and I have a little differing viewpoint, maybe because I guess I don't find the word diet a dirty word. Like for me, JJ, and maybe for you, Patty, and good luck and thank you for calling, the concept of dieting has worked for me. Not that I don't think there would be incredible freedom in giving it up altogether in theory, but there is something about, I don't know, there's just something about it just doesn't, I know what I'm doing when I'm dieting. It is part of a mission to diet for me. And maybe that's deprivation, and maybe that's not mentally that sound. But if you tell me that I have to go on an elimination diet, then it doesn't matter what you label it, because that is a diet, no?
Right. But see, I have a very specific diet. I tend to eat paleo and a little keto, and I'm been gluten-free since 2008, and I don't eat dairy for the most part. Here and there.
So then you are then you're not right. So then that's real life. That's real. I love that.
Right,
that's honest.
Right. So, but here's the difference. I don't look at a food and go, oh God, I wish I could have that. Oh, I shouldn't have that. I don't do that, because anything I see that is, I literally today struggled with having like the soup with a touch of cream in it. And the only reason I ate it, I had some enzymes with me, is because there was nothing else there. Like there wasn't another course. So if I was going to have enough energy to make it through this day, this event, I was like, okay, just eat it and you'll deal with it. But I didn't want to eat it. Or the salad that had gluten in the dressing. I threw it away because I don't want to put that in my body. It's about getting to the place where your choices become because you don't want it, not because you feel, oh, it's bad for me, but I love it. It's that love-hate thing that causes people to just say, screw it, I'm going to eat what I want, and that's why you keep going back and forth. It's being able to emotionally get to the place where you're making choices and you love the choices that you make and you have no problem with the choices that you make. If I see a food that I go, oh, I really want that, I find a way to have it in a way that works in my diet, that works in the way that I eat. I make it a new way with new ingredients, whatever. But I don't feel restricted at all. And that's where I want people to get to, where you don't feel restricted.
I get it, because it becomes such a choice that it's a happy choice.
And it's one made out of true authenticity of loving yourself and saying, no, I don't want to eat that because I know what it does to my stomach. I know that it causes micro tears in my gut lining, and then I'm going to have leaky gut and inflammation and possibly get an autoimmune disorder. No, I don't want that. It's not worth that. That's where I want people to get to.
Right, which is a whole other. Which, by the way, you're totally right that is mental health. That is a healthier place to be. In other words, to decide I'm not eating this because it makes me feel like crap is very different from I can't eat this because I'll be fat.
Yes.
How do you get people to tap into their reasons for eating or their reasons for being so attached to the food?
Well, it's a process of usually a little bit of time with somebody in different ways. Like I've done 90-day programs over the course of once a week with people over Skype. And by the end, I had people that had been on programs for 20 years, different programs. And at the beginning, expected me to weigh them in, to ask if they lost weight, to have them calorie count. So I didn't do any of that stuff. And by the end, people literally saying, oh, my God, I didn't realize I had issues. I had issues with food or emotional issues that I was repressing because we get so wrapped up in our day-to-day stuff that we're not looking at all the patterns and habits that were created that are causing us to not want to feel. And that's where it comes down to. So that program gave me 3 months with people to sort of take them through a process. I've got a live event coming up in January where it's going to be a 2.5-day event. That's going to be a process with actual exercises. If I'm coaching with somebody, again, like you asked me, how would I start with someone? Well, I'm not going to start in with the emotional stuff unless you're coming to me for the emotional stuff. If you're coming to me for weight loss, then I'm going to start with the process, the food stuff. I'm going to get all the other things in line first, get you ready, and seed it, and then go a little bit deeper into some of that other stuff. And I use everything from astrology to birth order to psychology about your, how you grew up and traumas and triggers. I use all of it depending on what you're ready for. But it's about uncovering and peeling back the onion to find out what is that core thing that you don't want to feel. And then you're going to have to feel it at some point to release it in order for you to feel free of it so that you're comfortable in your skin and you love yourself and that you love yourself no matter what you do. And there's no right and wrong and there's no self-abuse and there's no feeling bad about yourself.
Well, I think that's really, yes, there doesn't, see, I think we are on the same page in that when you are changing your food plan, adapting how you eat or figuring out what's right for your body, it doesn't have to be the kind of thing that makes you feel like crap.
Right.
We can look at it, right. We can look at it as a game, as something empowering, as something that we're doing because we love ourselves rather than saying I'm not eating the cake because I hate myself and I don't deserve to have cake. It's the opposite. You're saying I'm not eating the cake because I love myself so much. I'm not going to make myself feel crappy by eating the cake. I don't want to feel like shit. That's a totally different way of looking at it.
And is it worth it? And not even I'm not going to eat the cake. I'll eat the cake tomorrow in a different way. I'm going to go home and make the cake in a way that my body will receive better and that makes me feel good. That I know every ingredient in it supports my body versus hurts me and puts me into cravings and overload of sugar and feeling bloated and constipated and and all that stuff and causes leaky gut. I mean, I want you to eat the cake. I just want you to eat the cake that's better for you, that tastes as good, that you can feel good about, and you're not going to overeat it because there's nothing in it that's going to cause cravings.
But wouldn't you agree, though, not everybody is meant to be paleo or not everybody is meant to be vegan or not everybody, I feel like we all have different ways that we do best eating. I don't do well on paleo. I don't.
Yeah, I think that you have to find what works for you, what makes sense for you. There's so many factors in choosing what works for you. I definitely recommend people try different things. Like when I tried keto, I loved it because I wasn't hungry. and because I love all the foods that I could have, and I loved all the new things that I was trying. And so it's not necessarily something that I would do every day because it's hard to do every day, especially if you travel and you're not cooking all your food all the time. And I do cook a lot, and I've got a cooking show, and I teach people how to do these things easily in their kitchen, and they can have it for days. But I prefer to help people find whatever works for them, but there are some basic biochemical principles you can't get around. Okay, things turn to sugar. So if you're on a vegan diet and you're eating a lot of starch, you might gain weight because if you're not properly sticking in enough fat and good protein, then you're always defaulting to carbohydrates, and that turns to sugar, which may spike your insulin, and it may cause you to, lose weight be harder for you to lose weight or release that.
Right.
But again, yes, I'm not going to try to tell a vegan to eat meat. I'm going to work with a vegan to help a vegan do it right so that they feel great and they're not going to gain weight. So they can because I have worked with a bunch of them that go vegan for a couple of years, gain 30 pounds and go, what's the problem?
And then come back. Of course. No. I agree. I go back and forth with being vegetarian and being vegan, and the only time my weight is low when I'm vegan is if I'm really not eating starchy foods. I can't spend my life eating pasta, going too into the sugar. So I do better with some egg and some certain foods I have to add in that have some animal proteins in them, but I won't eat flesh at this point. I just am not comfortable with it. But I agree with you. It's very hard to stay if you're somebody who leans toward sort of the eating of the starchy and the mushy and the yummy vegan type food, then it's not gonna just make you skinny. You have to be conscious and mindful like anything else. So you yourself, you don't weigh yourself. You subscribe to no scales for yourself as well?
I know. I weigh myself occasionally. And my rule of thumb for people weighing themselves is you weigh yourself when you feel good. Because this is just another, because otherwise you're abusing yourself. You are shaming yourself, and this journey will never get easier if you step on the scale every day, hoping that it's down, and then beating yourself up when it's not, feeling depressed when it's not, because at the end of the day, who cares? Let me ask you.
It's so true.
Let me ask you, if you could have visualized yourself in your perfect body in your body, meaning if somebody has larger hips, they're going to be cut in half. Okay. If you have what you think is your perfect body, but you weren't allowed to know what the number was, or would you take that, or would you take it's a number that you want, but it looked bigger than that? Which one would you take?
The perfect body, duh.
Exactly. Right. So the number is arbitrary half of the time. And then the other half of the time, people are getting upset about a pound here and a pound there, and they have no idea what their body fat percentage is, if that was water weight, if they're losing muscle. And here, can I grab you about this 1 second? Here's my big issue with everyone in their menopausal and andropausal
Here's the problem.
state.
I am out of time. So I'm going to crash the break. So I actually have to go. Please follow JJ Flitzstein online across social media platforms. I think I like that your mission is for good and to help women feel better, help people feel better. I think that's really cool. Thank you so much for being on my show.
Thanks for having me.
And as a reminder, today's show was brought to you by Health IQ. Make sure to go take your test and get your free quote at healthiq.com/SPE.